Beast Wars episode 14, Double Dinobot. Now this is the last episode on disc 2, and it's a pretty interesting episode. It's about Dinobot actually being cloned by the Predacons. Megatron wants to make a clone so that he can replace Dinobot and actually have an ally on the inside of the base. So it starts off really simple, where it's like they can make clones, and we find out that it's actually like, he mentioned like they only needed like a speck of DNA from Dinobot. And so they were able to make the clone. The one thing that the clone doesn't have, though, is the ability to transform, which I thought was pretty cool. Like, that was like the one flaw that it had. So it's going through. It ends up getting this mission for Optimus, and it's sent on a mission with Rattrap, because of course the Dinobots or Dinobot gets targeted by the Predacons. So it's like, all right, we have to find him and beat him up. And so Pterosaur is the one that has to do it. He flies into basically like a cliff that's open, and Dinobot follows him in, and then he flies out of the opening, and then he shoots, or he flies out of the top of the mountain, and then he shoots the opening so it traps Dinobot. So it's like, alright, we defeated Dinobot, we can send in the clone, and he gets sent on a mission with Rattrap, and it's just the two of them. So they're going through, and basically how it happens is he says, I saw the Predacons here. They must be using some sort of cloaking device. That's why we don't see them on the map. But I'm telling you, I saw them in this area, which is like super dangerous and full of lava, which is like the one thing that seems to actually be dangerous. And so they go on this mission, and of course he tries to kill Rattrap. They have it where they have to walk across like a tree that fell, and it's like the only bridge across, like, you know, between the little cavern of lava. And as Rattrap is on it, the Dinobot clone starts kicking it, and he knocks it down, and so Rattrap falls into the lava. He's on the log, of course, he doesn't die, but he falls into the lava, and so he has to find a way to survive. So he's jumping from rocks to, you know, from rock to rock and stuff, and even though it totally defies physics, after everything goes down, after Dinobot does that, he goes back to the base, and he's like, you guys need to go out and, you know, face against the Predacons because we got ambushed. And Rattrap is still out there, so you guys have to go get him. I'll stay here by myself, and I'll come get you later. I have to stay and get into like the restoration pod. So that's how he gets rid of all of them. And so he's there in the base. And when Optimus and, you know, the rest of the guys finally get there, Rattrap ends up saving himself because he sets off an explosion on a rock that he's on. It totally defied physics, but he blew up this rock. Or basically, he set off an explosion, and it launched him like up into the air. And I was like, that wouldn't have happened because he set it like on the rock that he was on, or like really, it's way too close. It would have shattered the rock, and he would have fell in the lava. But it was like, whatever. So it defies physics, and he flies way up in the air. He ends up saving himself, and as he's climbing up the cliff, he sees Optimus and Cheetor, and it's like, you know, what happened? Dinobot told us, you know, you guys were attacked by the Predacons. He's like, no, Dinobot was the one that did this. And so he kind of reverted back to the earlier episodes where he's like, you know, once a Pred, always a Pred, because that was kind of his thing. So as that's going on, and they're like, we have to get back to the base, the Dinobot clone is trying to basically take over a Sentinel, and it doesn't know, like, it was supposed to be a simple mission, and it's like, I don't know the passwords because they need passwords and all this other stuff, and he keeps getting electrocuted because he doesn't have the right passwords. So he gets, like, literally gets beat up so much he passes out. And then around this time, Dinobot, the real Dinobot, escapes this mountain. So it goes back to base. He goes back to base. And as the clone Dinobot is, like, hitting some buttons, Dinobot outside is like, Sentinel, disable shields. And so the clone Dinobot was like, yes, I finally did it. And so he contacts Megatron and is like, you know, you can set off phase 4 of the mission. Like, the ship is wide open and the Maximals are like way off in a different location. So he thinks he, you know, got the shield down, so he doesn't realize that Dinobot is about to show up. And then they run into each other, and they do like this silly mirror thing where they're like, you know, this is weird. So they do like all the little movements and stuff, and they spin around and stuff like that, and it's like a mirror image, which makes no sense. Like, Dinobot should have known that because he could see that it's the main console area, and he just came from the hallway. Like, it's not a mirror. There's someone in front of him. But of course it gets revealed because the clone like kind of roars at him, and they end up fighting. And Dinobot decides, because you can't transform, I'll fight in my Maximal mode because him and his honor and stuff. So he's like, I won't fight in a transformed state because I'll have too much of an advantage. So I'll give you a fair fight. And then as soon as he transforms back, the clone like whips the crap out of him. Like he whipped him in the face so hard he slammed him to the ground. And he was like, I don't really share your sense of honor. So they have this fight scene, and then, Dinobot is actually losing. So he gets thrown into the console, and then the clone is about to jump him, and then it cuts to Megatron, outside of the ship. And so the clone actually comes out of the ship, and he like comes down, and so he's being the clone who's better than Dinobot. He's praising him and stuff like that, and it's like cool, like great, you defeated Dinobot. We have the ship now and everything. And of course it turns out to be the actual Dinobot, and he sets off Sentinel, and he like shoots Megatron 1,000,000 feet. Like every time they get hit with the cannons, they fly like 100 feet. Like it's so funny. They just fly like, super far back. And so Megatron thinks that it's a clone. It's still the clone. He's like, you're just as treacherous as the real Dinobot. And then Dinobot transforms, like, correction, I am the real Dinobot. And he beats the crap out of him. Like he beats Megatron up. Megatron takes off. The Maximals come back, and he has to explain everything that happened. And so Rattrap, still being in a bit of disbelief, is like, if, there was really this clone this whole time, where the heck is he? And this is where it got really weird. This is like the very end of the episode, too. And so I knew throughout the episode, they've mentioned it quite a few times. They've shown it a ton of times that they eat. Like I mentioned before, Rattrap had like an apple. Tarantulas eats a ton of stuff. Like he was going to eat Cheetor. There's an episode where he ate a rat. It was one of the episodes before this. Like he actually ate a rat. I think it was in the Victory episode when they were in hiding. He was like eating a rat when they were still hiding in like the little cavern. And when they get back, Dinobot's like, oh, I can't prove that he was there because I got rid of him. And then he like picks his teeth and he like flicks a piece of, I guess, meat. I don't even know. He flicks flesh at like Optimus's face. Like he just picked out a piece of meat. He was like, and just flicked it at him. And I was like, he ate a clone. Like that was how it ended. Like he ate the clone Dinobot. And I was like, that is insane. Like I don't understand like how, like what they can and cannot eat or how they process stuff. Because if he could eat a clone of himself, I think they could survive on like just crush a bunch of rocks and just toss them in. Because I'm like, I don't see how they need nutrients when he ate a clone of himself. I guess technically it counts because I mean if tarantulas could eat Cheetor, then I guess it's the same thing. It's not, it's just a clone of him. It's still just a transformer that I guess is still metal on the inside. I didn't even think of that until just now. I mean, he couldn't transform, but I would assume that he wasn't like raptor meat, on the inside, just because Dinobot is based off a raptor. So I don't know exactly how all that played out with the mechanics of the inside of Transformers or whatever, but he ate the clone Dinobot. That was his thing. He was like, oh, I can't really show you where he's at because I ate him. And that's how the episode ended. And it was like everyone was looking at each other weird, and Cheetor does like this like half-hearted thumbs up, like, like that's good. You ate him, I guess. And I was like, this is a weird ending. Like he ate the clone, and then it's like, yep, solve that problem, and that's how the episode ended. So it was a crazy ending, that he ate the clone and stuff instead of like dismantling him or whatever. He ate him. He was able to eat him. So I thought that was a crazy ending to this episode. Certainly a fun one though. I thought it was really cool. Just going through, it was kind of nothing was like super epic in this episode where it's like this really, really stood out. It was just another fun little episode. And Rattrap, being Rattrap and being mad, thinking Dinobot betrayed him and stuff, and going back to his old ways and all that. But that ending was crazy. I was not expecting that, where he's like, oh, I can't show you because I ate him. I freaking ate him. So that was something. And I guess, they're used to clones, so it's not kind of the same element of like, if a person was cloned, and that would also be different because of cannibalism. Because I guess they're used to eating each other because they talk about it so often. At least Tarantulas, he brings it up so often about eating people and eating the Maximals. So I guess it's kind of a normal practice for them, where it's like, yeah, well, you can eat your enemies if you want to. I guess they don't have to, but they clearly can. It's like, I can live with it, live without it. They can just eat each other if they want. So weird little thing. It's just fun. It was just a crazy way to end the episode, where it's like, yeah, I ate my clone, took care of that, and just flick a piece of meat or whatever, into Optimus's face. So crazy ending, but definitely a fun episode. Naturally, if you guys have any comments about it, please put your comments down in the comment section below. And of course, thanks for watching.